Hey, welcome back to the Motorcyclist Podcast. This is where we talk about motorcycles and what makes them great. Topics on the show constantly change, but the one thing that always remains is two-wheeled fun. In this episode, we're going to talk about the big announcement from Suzuki this week, the new GSX-R1000 and 1000R. Before we do that, we're going to make some introductions. We got Adam Waheed, editor, photo director, Jeff Allen, and myself, executive editor, Justin Dawes. So, new GSX-R. Well, updated, I guess we could say. But big news for GSXR fans. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, especially GSXR fans in Europe.
Yes, and huge news for GSXR fans in Europe, obviously. So we'll get into all that. Last time it was updated, 2017, 8 years ago. The GSXR seems to go a long time between updates. So, but big news for EU. It's back. It was canceled in 2022, mainly due to emissions, right? So it wouldn't even pass Euro 5. It was Euro 4 compliant, but then it couldn't make Euro 5. And now we're at Euro 5 plus. So they had to do something if they wanted to. So let's get into all the particulars of the bike to start off with. First off, same engine as always, 999 cc, dual red can, liquid cooled, inline 4, with variable valve timing that came out in 2017. It was actually one of the first bikes that got variable valve timing, which was pretty interesting in terms of Suzuki for sure, and one of the first sport bikes. There's obviously bikes that have had variable valve timing long before that. Kawasaki Concourse 1400, I think, was one of the very first, all the way back in the early 2000s. But anyway, horsepower, it is claimed for Europe to be 192. That's down from 199 in the Euro 4 spec. So it's lost some ponies, but they're doing what they can with that bike. They claim that the torque though is down also. It's 81.1 foot-pounds down from 86, but they say that the torque curve was much more linear and flat on this new bike is what they're claiming. So we'll see. Weight has gone up as well, 3 more pounds because of emissions equipment. They did do some other stuff to lighten it, but then the addition of emissions bumped it up to 448 pounds. Suspension. There's 2 variants. There's the GSXR1000 and then the GSXR1000R. The standard model, or what we call base model, Showa KYB forks and shock. Showa fork and shock. And it's got on the R, it gets the balance-free Showa suspension. So an upgrade in suspension on the R. It has got what else we got? We got a 6-axis IMU on this thing now, which is borrowed from the GSX-S1000GX. There's probably a plus at the end of it. I can't remember. Yeah. So, but
gotta be a plus.
Yeah. So it's got 6S IMU, world torque control system. So that gives it wheelie control. It gives it some lean sensitive ABS, slope dependent engine brake control. It's got a bidirectional quick shifter now, and that's basically all the big changes. There's a lot of changes in the engine, and we'll go through that in a sec. But pricing, we don't know yet. Prices haven't been announced for Europe or for the US. I do want to talk about power again really quick. The US model will probably have the same horsepower it's always had, which is 185 because of sound emissions requirements. US sport bike, especially inline 4s, constantly get neutered a little bit to make the sound requirements for the US. So expect it to be 185 in the US compared to 192 in Europe.
Well, it has an updated exhaust. They moved so that might help with the sound as well.
Yeah, it may. So maybe we can cross our fingers and hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, they moved the cat closer to the collector from the four head pipes, mainly for a quicker warm up, which is better for emissions. So I think that's the main reason. But maybe moving it upstream will quiet it down. And then it's got a pretty long muffler on it. Things kind of long and narrow instead of being fat and stubby like the old one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It kind of gives me some old school vibes. Like it feels kind of, old school round Kirker pipe style or something. I don't know. Anyway, so this is the 40th year of GSXR name. Obviously, it started with the 750, and it's been how many years, Jeff, since
for the 1000? It's been 25 years. It's 25th anniversary next year when this becomes available.
Yeah. So the new bike has got some badging on it that says 40 years of GSXR or 40th anniversary or something like that. So
yeah.
And it's got some cool paint jobs to go with it.
Yeah, they got some cool colorways for sure.
Yeah, they do. The colorways are really cool. I really like the red and white kind of Lucky Strike reminiscent. It doesn't have a circle on it, but it's got this like the color combination, definitely throwback.
Yeah, so. If you try hard enough, you can imagine that it has the Lucky Strike.
It's got some elements of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminiscent. It makes you think about it. So, engine changes. It's got a new head. It's got bigger valves in it, different cams, different pistons, bigger throttle bodies. It's got a 8-hole injector for the first injectors. They were 10-hole, now they're 8-hole, and then it continues with the 10-hole in the second set of injectors. So dual injectors, like always. So that's all the stuff that they changed, and then the exhaust, of course.
Did you say that it has a new crankshaft and conrods?
Oh yeah, new crankshaft, conrods,
pistons.
And a higher compression ratio, a very high compression ratio.
Yeah,
13.8 to 1. So
yes, diesel engine style.
Yeah, I mean it's up there. It is definitely up there. Definitely not running 87 octane in that bad boy. So the reason they did all the lower end stuff is for racing. They wanted to be able to withstand the rigors of upgrading for racing. They're which we saw them do with the Hayabusa. The Hayabusa has always kind of been built strong so that it can handle extra power, and they took that same thinking to the GSXR, which is kind of cool. So they're thinking about you putting more power into that bad boy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all the pertinent details on the bike. Wait, no, there's one more. There's one more big change. Winglets.
Oh my God. Well, the winglets are accessories. They're available accessory, and they look it. It's kind of disappointing, They look. You can see they're just screwed on.
Yeah,
I think the bodywork is otherwise unchanged.
Yeah, the bodywork.
Other than the colorway, and
they said that the winglets add enough downforce to be useful, but not enough to make it sluggish handling or something like that. So
yeah, but you can see, like in the photos, you can see they're screwed on.
Yeah, they're not molded into the bodywork like some of the other bikes. Like they're back in the day when the Panigale first got winglets, they were also screwed on. And you could tell they were like glommed onto the side of the bike, and these are kind of that same thing. They're not integrated all nice like a lot of the bikes are now. So, and I think that maybe takes us to there's a lot of updates, right? But is it enough?
It's I would say it's more evolutionary than revolutionary, It just updating it for Euro 5 Plus, and adding some winglets.
Yeah.
So,
At least they did something.
yeah.
Yeah, they did something. I think there are some other important things that we gloss over is it does get, some lean sensitive stuff, and it gets some new electronics, which is cool, and useful. But then like you still got like an LCD dash instead of a TFT dash.
Yeah, that's disappointing too. Like what? Yeah, that.
What? What's up with that? I mean, I think the GSX-S1000 GX doesn't have a TFT dash on it.
I think they all have TFTs now.
I
They all
mean,
have
even
TFTs.
even like $5,000-$6,000 motorcycles have TFT now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, all the
all
Suzukis
eights.
they all have TFTs. So it's like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's
that's
kinda
definitely
weird.
disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess it gives them something to do next year.
Yeah, in 2035.
yeah, the next generation, yeah. So I'll be retired by the time they redo it again, maybe. Like you said, like winglets, it's got less power, it's got less torque, it's got more weight. But perhaps,
Yeah, I think that the GSXR fans out there are going to be disappointed to hear that it's lost horsepower and gained weight.
yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the, that's always like on the spreadsheet or on the spec sheet shootout. You're always like, oh man, like where it may not, it might not be that bad. It might actually be better.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at it on paper and you're comparing and contrasting, everyone's going to go, oh man, that sucks. And I'll with reserve judgment until I ride it. But it's not a good look to go backwards in power and torque.
Yeah, especially I mean now we're just sort of judging it without riding it. But it is something that gets your attention.
Yeah. So, but like I said, you've got the IMU, you've got wheelie control, you got a quick shifter, lean sensing ABS. You still got VVT on it. That's cool. Like that's.
I think I would also like to see. I think I would also like to see lean sensing traction control.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That also seems like it's something that's missing.
I think they have that now with the IMU. That'll probably facilitate that. I think.
I think the IMU may facilitate it, even though it doesn't really. It's not.
No, it doesn't say that it's. I mean, again, we're just going by what's been announced, but it doesn't. It doesn't appear that the traction control is lean sensing. It does other things.
Yeah. So I don't know. The press release on it was not super detailed. So
maybe there's
tech
more to come.
There's going to be more to come. This is just like basically like, hey, here it is. Here's all the big changes, and they could have just like glossed over it because they're like, yeah, it's the system from the GSX-S. So of course it has lean sensitive TC as well. So we shall see. But what the important thing is, though, for Europe, it meets Euro 5 plus. So that means it's back. They're back to selling it in Europe, it's a big deal for them. They have been without a 1000cc Suzuki for a while. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, the balance-free suspension.
Yeah, exactly.
It's double tube design.
That's a major feature,
Yeah, like that's a big upgrade.
That's an expensive kit.
Yeah, for sure. It's supposed to be more consistent. It improves rider feel. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see the price range between the base model and the R. So, but I mean, man, just the paint job on the bike makes it look fresher. Like they definitely hid some of the old lines with the shapes they got. So even though you like, yeah, that's the same, it looks a little bit different. So
I think so too.
They kind of just tricked your eye with the lines they have in the paint job. So, but is it enough? I'm going to withhold my true judgment until I ride one. But I still think it's definitely not a Panigale. It's definitely not an RSV4.
No.
You know, it's not even, well, I don't know. Maybe it's a contender against the ZX10, but it's not an S1000R. Like it's the next tier down, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the price should reflect that as well, you know?
Yeah. So
you would think.
That's a question. Like, where does the price need to be considered? Like, what do you think, Adam? Like, where do you want to see this bike priced at in order for it to be successful?
Well, Suzuki always, does a good job of, and they admit it openly that they're the value conscious brand. They're always offering, good value, great quality, but also good value in virtually any segment. So I would expect that to continue. The GSXR1000 is always one of the more affordable super bikes. Yeah, the prices have crept up more along the lines of the other competitors in the segment, but they've always been real competitive in pricing. I bet you that standard GSXR1000, the non-GSXR1000R model will probably be, I don't know, I bet anything 16 grand,
Wow.
right around there.
16 grand would be insane.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Going to your point of them always being the value, I think they price things right, like you said, but DRZ4S fans may disagree with you with the pricing on that bike. It went up to $9,000, so it'll be interesting to see. Granted, that's an almost all new bike in comparison to this being an update, so perhaps it's still going to be value. I would say I would expect the base model maybe to be in the 17,500.
Yeah.
Which puts it kind of in the same price range as the ZX10. And I don't know what an R1 is right now. Is it
R1? The base is about 19,000, and then the R1M is like 27 plus.
Okay,
so 27 and change.
Yeah, so I think
17 sounds about right.
Yeah,
17 and a half maybe, and then for the R, man, I don't know. Like, I think if they get in the I don't know, Jeff. What do you think?
Based on the Showa kit, I would think that's a $8,000 upgrade. I would say it would be about 25,000, and that puts it just under its competitors. If those are the price, I mean, we're speculating.
Yeah,
everything else is more.
Yeah,
the Japanese stuff.
I hope it doesn't go into the 25K range. I hope it goes to like 22 maybe, because I think 25 is going to be a little too spendy. And then you go, well, it's easy just to jump to a Ducati or to a BMW for an extra, when the number gets that high, I think maybe it's an easier jump to spend another 5K and get the top of the
for
class.
Some.
For some people.
But for some people, those features the Suzuki doesn't have might be unused features. Like a lot of people buying a Panigale, aren't using the full suite of those rider aid.
Launch control every day.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Light.
Yeah. So maybe if you're more logical, you'd be like, I don't need to pay for features I'm not going to use.
Yeah, I guess so. And maybe that's another selling point on the Suzuki is it's still fairly simple, which is there's plenty of people that they don't care about all that stuff and they just want like a nice analog-ish machine, and I've always liked the GSXR for that reason. Is it's for me it's always been easy to ride, maybe because it's had less power. The chassis has been really stable and nice, so you don't miss all of those things that you almost need in a Panigale V4 because it's so gnarly, right? You can ride it. You can ride it as your own. You can be your own computer a lot more on
the traction control right here.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Adam? In that sense of like, tech versus price versus the competition.
Well, Suzuki always, at the end of the day, that GSX-R1000 is like an old school superbike, and I don't think that this version is going to really change that and become, in the modern era of the Aprilias and the Ducatis and that kind of stuff. So I think they're going to kind of continue with their old school superbike, formula, giving it the IMU and stuff brings it a little bit more to the modern era, but I wouldn't. Suzuki loyalists will be very happy that it's remaining the same, but the high tech Euro people will probably look at it, dismissively as always. But hey, if you know a GSXR, you've ridden one, they're awesome. So there'll still be folks out there that really like them, myself included.
You've ridden them a lot, so my take on it is that they're fairly easy to ride. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean they're just old school super bikes. They're just easy to ride. They're really mellow. They have good balance. They do everything very well. Nothing crazy. Neutral steering. They're just really neutral. General sport bikes. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of manufacturers and companies, when they're doing their vehicle and product development, they always use one of those bikes as a testing mule, and they use that bike as a testing mule is because it's very neutral. It's very neutral. The way it loads tires, the way you ride it, everything's neutral. So it's a great platform to dissect, features of other things. And I'm sure it'll continue being like that. I like those bikes. I think they're awesome. It'd be cool if they went to new school superbike direction, but at the same time, over the years, you kind of come to like Suzuki's, and they have a certain character and familiarity, which I like. There's a lot of people out there that like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So and that brings out a good point too. Maybe Suzuki is keeping it affordable for the everybody for superbikes. They're keeping superbikes attainable for not the super elite checkbooks, right? So
yeah. And when you think about it, the super elite checkbook people and those products from Ducati and stuff like that, they don't sell in volumes that would be significant enough for Suzuki to invest in that type of manufacturing. They just don't. So realistically, that's not where Suzuki's business model is. That boutique stuff's.
You got to know your audience, right?
Yeah, and like you said, they're doing it on volume, not on margin. All these special edition Ducatis and MVs and stuff, they're super, super expensive, and they add a lot to the bottom line because there's a huge margin in them. But for Suzuki, that doesn't make any sense for them. But if they can, if they can squeak out a few $1,000s per bike, but they sell 4 times as many as there are Panigales or special edition Panigales, then it totally makes sense for them to do their business that way, and that's how they've always done it. And so,
yeah, you look at the models that we've talked about recently in podcasts. The DRZ 4S, the V-Strom, similar. Keeping it a little bit more simple and sort of hitting that more approachable motorcycle.
Yeah. Yep. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, neutral, more approachable, both in the riding experience, but also your what it costs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, we're almost the end of this one, so let's just give a final thumbs up or thumbs down to this new GSXR, each of us. So we'll start with Adam. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
I would say thumbs up. I honestly wasn't expecting this, and I just thought that was going to die and go away just like the rest of them. So I think it's cool that Suzuki's breathing some new life in there, and hopefully we'll have another, decade or so of Suzuki sport bikes.
Right on.
Yeah. I'm going to say thumbs up as well. Like I said about the V-Strom, this is Suzuki coming out of some dark times, and they keep, here's another model that's being updated, and it's a good sign. It's a good sign for us, for all of us.
Yep. then I would say it's a unanimous thumbs up. I also say
Yeah.
thumbs up for sure. I think it's cool. They're doing something with it. Like you said, they're refreshing the lineup. They're offering things usually on a value, although we don't know the price on this one yet, but we expect that it'll be value priced. And yeah, they're, like you said, they're coming out of dark times, and we're heading into uncertain times. So I applaud them for forging ahead in uncertain economic times
absolutely.
right now. So
Yeah, well
Absolutely.
said.
thumbs up to Suzuki to keep their fans stoked and happy. And I think the new bikes look great. I think even the yellow, like, I'm not a yellow fan, even though, like, this wall right here is yellow. I didn't paint this wall this color. I'm not a yellow fan for the most part, and I think that yellow paint job on that thing looks pretty slick.
Yeah.
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 They used to have yellow Gixxers back in the day, so it's kind of cool they're bringing them back,
Yeah, for sure.
So, with all these new models, could a new motocross bike be that far away?
Ooh.
We can hope. We can hope.
Man. Can hope. Like, we could definitely hope. They got to at some point. Like, that thing is gone longer than the GSXR. Like,
Yeah.
it's like 04 or something. Like, it seems like it's probably not that old, but it seems like it hasn't changed much in a long time. It's maybe they're gonna take the money they're making on these 8Ss and that stuff, and they're sticking it into new stuff to so maybe they're working on a new motocross bike. We can only hope.
Yeah, I just brought that up because I'm just happy to see them, updating product and finding more solid ground.
Yeah, no, and it's cool that they are doing this bike up. Like, everyone's going towards more affordable parallel twin, really investing in cross platform sharing and all that stuff. And it's nice to see that a company like Suzuki is saying, okay, we're going to invest some money into an inline 4 super bike that, as of now is still not they're still not a hot seller since 2008. They've so, but maybe it's time.
Yeah. They did say they've manufactured over 1 million units since the inception of that, which is nothing to scoff at,
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, there was a time when Gixxer was almost synonymous or a replacement for the word superbike, right?
Yeah, Gixxer. Yeah, for sure.
So I'd love to see them get back to that status and really kick butt. So
yeah, I was talking to a media rep at one of the manufacturers, and it wasn't Suzuki, and he was telling me that sport bike sales are up. So that's a good sign too. So,
they are going up. Which is awesome. It segments come and go, and they rise and they fall, and it seems like they all get their turn, and maybe it's sport bike's turn again, which would be cool.
Yeah.
We'd all love to see that. So that's the end of this episode. As always, we really appreciate you listening all the way through to these things. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and of course, put your comments down below. What do you think this new GSXR is going to cost? Put your predictions down below, and we'll shout out whoever gets the closest when they do announce the price. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.